Thank you, Susan. Good morning, everybody. Namaste. Namaste. So one of the side effects, positive side effects of my own spiritual journey has been the poetry that has surfaced up from my heart. And so I'm going to be sharing some poems. Most of them are from this collection, Surfacing. There's a few I stuck in there, some newer ones, but let's see. We'll start with In Orbit Around Love. Without even knowing it, we are all transmitters for the divine, dropping hints, giving directions, illuminating the path. Like little satellites, we are continually bouncing omnipresence off each other. How mysteriously connected all that equipment is in orbit around love. Friends, here's a secret. If you want to hear the best inside joke, get a little correction, or a message from heaven, listen closely to the random chatter of our universe, because God has a way of possessing anyone's tongue. I wrote this because it's been my experience that when I do open up to the luminous love light of the Lord, that the universe has given me messages and has spoken to me when I am receptive enough to hear it. And it could be anything. Sometimes it's a book that's been sitting around for a year or two, and then I pick it up. This is exactly what I need to hear. Sometimes it's just a conversation with a stranger who doesn't even know my situation but says something to me, and it's like, wow, that's it. Or I could even be in a store, and there'll be some radio on, and the words of the radio, I mean, a lot of you are nodding your head. You know what this feeling is, because there really is only one consciousness. And when we open up to it, it's a beautiful thing, those messages that come as God speaks to us. Okay. This next one is called Radha Knows. Radha is the supreme girlfriend, the chief girlfriend of Lord Krishna. All this time, Krishna, I did not know. I thought pleasures came from external things, but Govinda, in truth, it came from you. All this time, objects of attraction seemed so sweet, but all the world's sweetness was Krishna alone. In my heart, all this time, sat the lotus of love. Hey, Hari, how do you hide your radiance so well? In the embrace of husband, in the bond of relative and friend, my mind has scattered your good graces about the way autumn scatters her energies. It makes me sad to know all this time I've missed the essence, wandering through life's garden while Krishna's fragrance filled the air. The playfulness of youth was Govinda's play, the surrender of old age, his release. Radha knows her consort is the reservoir of all delight. O Radha, what can you teach this silly girl? 1,000 wrong visions have come to your little sister. Please don't let her continue in this unhealthy way. Please ask your Lord, Gopal, for me. Ask him to do what he does best. While I bathe in the waters of this world, tell him to come and steal away my clothes of worldliness. And I wrote this because there's a beautiful story of the Krishna Leela where his gopis, his girlfriends, his devotees, they're bathing in a pond, and they put their clothes on a tree. And Krishna, he was always the trickster. He was always playing jokes on everyone. So he came and he took all their clothes and he climbed up the tree. And the girls, they were in the water and they were naked. Krishna, bring me my clothes. Bring us our clothes. You got to come out and get them. But they were shy. They wanted to stay in the water. And he said, come on out, girls. So one by one, they started coming out of the water like this, shivering. And he saw that they were covering themselves. He says, He says, no, not until you pray, not until you bow to me. You know, like this, bow. So they did. They surrendered everything, bowed to Krishna, and he gave them their clothes. And that's truly what I've been taught about how to approach the God. Naked. Don't hold anything back. Nothing. God knows it all anyway. He just wants to see if we're going to let go. Okay. Fear. This one is called fear. I've had experience. I never write about anything I don't have experience with. Fear. You. I have grown tired of your tyranny. You. In your small house with no windows and too many locks, spreading disquiet wherever you go, like an itchy rash that begs to be scratched. A sorcerer of foul play, foul because you stink of death and dread, play because you turn men into frozen puppets. Lurking in the graveyard of doubt, unclean phantasm, walking menace in the mind, whispering all the time, defeat, defeat. How many swim into your net and suffocate on the soiled decks of your pirate ship, fiendish fishermen? What can you offer to desperate humanity? Enslavement won't do, for we are all creatures of flight. Just as the eagle feels not the burden of weight, you too will be forgotten as we soar beyond your boundaries. And for me, the spiritual path has been one of trying to develop courage, because it turns out I didn't have a lot, and I'm still working on getting it. Yeah, even coming and speaking, it makes me a little nervous before, you know. But all that is ego. What will people think about my pride? and that really doesn't have any place on the spiritual path. So even if we're afraid, we trust God, and we see God in all faces, then that fear starts to go away. You know, there's a beautiful saying in the Upanishad, which I treasure. It says, he who sees all beings in his own self, in all beings, loses all fear. When a sage sees this great unity, what delusion and what sorrow can ever be near him? So it's only when we see that separateness, we get afraid. You know, I forgot to look at the clock, so we'll just have to let me know when I'm rambling. I totally didn't look, sorry. This is called There Is Enough, because sometimes, at least for me, I think to myself, oh God, I don't have enough courage to do this thing. I don't have enough strength. I don't have enough skill. I certainly don't have enough patience. Turns out there is enough. The speaker is not the one who is full, but the one who is empty. The writer is not the one with words, but the one with silence and a clean slate. It is ever the temperament of the world to fall in a ditch, but the wise do not walk so heavily upon this earth. All the iron and brass which armed Goliath could not save him from 5 polished stones and a slingshot. Bend into the brook and find your stones. 5 doors open to one door, but one door opens to infinite doors. Do not waste time looking for a locksmith when you hold the master key. I know you have been stewing long in this pot, trying to find your misplaced love, but in the still green presence of mind, you are there, like a creeper continuing its path, like the slim twin fingers of a fern, like countless births clinging their leaves to the tree of life. What a treasure you are, I know, for I have seen in my dreams and in my noblest visions. Standing like a peacock, fanning your feathers, spanning the 4 corners of creation. The conch contains the sound of the ocean, but your heart contains the song of the soul. Deities consult its ebb and flow, and the good that itself calls that its throne. Things are not what they seem. What a relief. When nothing here really can fill you fully, because the King made you solely his chalice of bliss. Look to the hollow road paved in marrow, threading itself through flowering worlds. And if you doubt the naked eye of your needle, ask the divine healer. There is enough. There's always enough. You just have to reach in. Okay, 29. This is If I Meet You. It's really describing all the different ways that we approach the God. And I say the God, but the God is inside. Sometimes the devotee likes to see 2. Even though there's really 1, sometimes the sweetest is to see the 2. And so that is when we approach the God, with us, the seeker, and the God. If I meet you as a beggar, will you scorn my poverty? If I meet you as a king, will you laugh at my ornamentation? If I meet you as a friend, will you disapprove my familiarity? If I meet you as a scholar, will you reproach my understanding? If I meet you as my beloved, will you hide your face of wrath? Master Shivananda, he says that there's many ways that we can view our relationship with God. And certainly I know I've approached as a beggar or as a king. I'm all powerful. Not really, these ways. But he says, or even as a yani, one of wisdom. But out of all the ways to approach the God, the devotee with devotion and love is the sweetest, because it's sweet in the beginning, it's sweet in the middle, and it's sweet at the end. So we can approach God sometimes as strong and sometimes as weak. Sometimes as knowledgeable and sometimes as ignorant. But as we always approach with a state of love, then it's always, always a wonderful experience. Where is it? 124. So, in the yoga tradition, the role of the guru plays a very high role, an important role in the heart and in the spiritual development of those who take to that path. But really, guru means the remover of darkness. So for all of us, the guru sits inside of our hearts and is always talking to us and guiding us and helping us to, as Susan said at the beginning, refrain from those habits which are destructive, those emotions which are destructive, those environments which aren't going to help us to shine the light and to be the light. And Krishnanand and I have a guru, an enlightened master, Swami Kailashananda, I certainly owe everything to him. And this poem, I've written many poems to my master. This one's called Lotus. If I rise up through the mire, which is dark from desire, and heavy as a heart which has no thought of God, if I float free on the surface like a lotus, where impurity cannot devour the fragrance of a flower, nor can sorrow settle on any upright petal, and in the misted night with color lily light, I shelter the silence and brightness of the sun. From blinded fear found on the bottom, from the cold and lonely light forgotten place, if I could rise and open in a crescent-shaped bloom, like the secret sunlit face of moon, which even ocean could not fathom. If in another's glory I dare to dream, then I could not lie that I did not rise, but was lifted up by he who floats my hope in the compassion of his hand, my shining soul's command. I am just a drop of dew, whose water became perfume by sitting on the lotus, Kailashananda.